Welcome back to Ground Rules, where we go beyond the headline prices to understand what is really shifting across South Africa's agricultural market. At first glance, livestock prices appear to be easing only slightly, but beneath the surface, a more significant turning point may be developing. Weaner calf and feeder lamb prices are beginning to lose momentum. We see pork prices also remaining under pressure, and even the animal feed market is starting to change. So the important question is this: is August simply bringing a temporary seasonal setback, or are livestock producers facing a much weaker few months? Let's look at the numbers and unpack what they could mean. This is Ground Rules and I am Conce. So, the average prices for weaner calves weighing between 200 and 250 kilograms declined by almost 3% last week to reach 46 Rand 3 cents per kilogram. The average price achieved by the top 40% of the calves decreased to 49 Rand 69 cents per kilogram, while the top 10% averaged 51 Rand 97 cents. Looking at the provincial prices, the Free State averaged approximately 48 Rand 85 cents per kilogram, while the Western Cape traded at around 42 Rand per kilo. As discussed last week, our weaner calf prices could continue to ease during August and into the beginning of September. However, this decline may be relatively limited. We could start to see prices receiving some renewed support in October when the feedlots begin to prepare animals for the year-end festive market. Looking into our short-term outlook is therefore much softer, but the market could begin recovering as we move deeper into the final quarter of the year. The national A2, A3 beef carcass price, also referred to as the super grade price, increased to 68 Rand 50 cents per kilogram. Last week, we saw the C-grade beef prices also strengthening, rising to 61 Rand 50 cents per kilogram. Despite these increases, there currently appear to be a limited reasons for the beef carcass prices to rise significantly further. So prices may therefore remain at the present levels in the short term. The average feeder lamb price also remained largely unchanged last week, trading at 56 Rand 72 cents per kilogram. The market may now have reached a seasonal turning point. In the Free State, we saw feeder lambs trading at 61 Rand 34 cents per kilogram. The Northern Cape averaged at 50 Rand 8 cents, while the Western Cape traded at approximately 54 Rand 38 cents per kilogram. We see that the heavier slaughter lambs weighing more than 32 kilograms currently trading at around 52 Rand 5 cents per kilogram. Over the past 6 years, feeder lamb prices have generally reached a seasonal high in July before declining relatively sharply between August and December. So the market could follow a similar pattern this year, and if that pattern repeats itself, the feeder lamb prices may come under pressure from August onwards. Looking into the A2, A3 lamb carcass prices, those have increased last week to 109 Rand 17 cents per kilogram, while the C2, C3 price strengthened to 82 Rand 50 cents. However, these prices could also begin to decline from August as more animals start to enter into the market and we see more readily available supplies. The key issue for sheep producers will therefore just be timing. Average wool prices in Australia declined last week to 19 Australian dollars per kilogram. However, the wool market remains highly selective. Not every line or category came under the same degree of pressure. There is still some good demand for high quality, well-prepared wool, and this continues to show that in the current wool market, quality and preparation can make a meaningful difference in the price achieved. Looking after our goats, the goat prices have continued to move, but they may remain relatively high until approximately August, During the past week, we have seen that the large goat prices declined to 45 Rand 78 cents per kilogram. The small goats also declined to 71 Rand 43 cents, while the medium-sized goats fell to 61 Rand 40 cents per kilogram. Dough prices also moved lower, declining to 57 Rand 38 cents per kilo. Although the prices have weakened during the past week, seasonal demand may continue to provide the goat market with some price support in the short term. Moving over to poultry, we see chicken prices are currently holding relatively steady. The frozen ex-abattoir chicken prices stand at 32 Rand 92 cents per kilo. Fresh chicken prices declined to 38 Rand 66 cents, while the individually quick frozen IQF chicken prices remained at approximately 35 Rand 37 cents per kilo. The expectation is that chicken prices could stabilize during August. Thereafter, prices may enter into a more consistent upward trend from September all the way to December. This means that the poultry market currently appears more stable than several of the red meat categories. Moving over to the egg market, the national average price for graded eggs remained unchanged at 22 Rand 39 cents per dozen. The ungraded egg prices also remain stable at 17 Rand 13 cents per dozen. For now, the egg market is showing relatively little movement compared with the shifts taking place in the broader livestock sector. Moving over to pork, our pork prices continued to lose ground last week, pressured by limited consumer demand and lower international prices. The latest bacon price declined by 0.5% to reach 30 Rand 6 cents per kilogram. Pork prices fell by 1% to 30 Rand 94 cents, while the sausage pig prices decreased by approximately 2% to reach 23 Rand 99 cents per kilogram. The seasonal trend suggests that our pork prices could begin to improve slightly from August. However, the stronger and more sustained price increases are more likely to only begin from September and continue towards the end of the year. In other words, the pork market may be approaching a floor, but meaningful recovery could still take place later in the year. Moving over to the feed market, inland grade 1 lucerne prices declined to 3,900 Rand per ton. Grade 2 lucerne traded at approximately 3,500 Rand per ton, while the prime inland lucerne averaged at 4,450 Rand per ton. Because winter conditions have not been particularly cold, the first cuts of the new lucerne season could begin arriving as early as the middle of August. Should this happen, additional supply could place further downward pressure on the current lucerne prices. So, lower lucerne prices would offer some relief to livestock producers, particularly those facing pressure from weaker animal prices. Looking into our chop prices, the chop prices declined to approximately 2,600 Rand per ton last week. However, we are seeing that white maize prices have started to strengthen. This could cause the chop prices to stabilize sooner and at a higher level than what we have initially expected, right? So the feed market is therefore sending mixed signals. Lucerne prices may soften as new season supply arrives, while stronger white maize prices could limit the decline in maize-based feed costs. So, what are the ground rules for the livestock market this week? Let's wrap it all up. August could become an important turning point. Weaner calf, feeder lamb, possibly carcass prices may begin coming under pressure as supply improves. Pork prices are also struggling, although seasonal support could begin returning later in the quarter. Chicken prices appear more stable and could begin moving higher from September. Goat prices may remain relatively firm in the short term, despite the latest weekly declines. On the feed side, the early arrival of new season lucerne could place prices under pressure and offer some cost relief. However, strong white maize prices may prevent chop prices from falling too far. The short-term livestock outlook therefore appears slightly weaker, but producers should not lose sight of the potential recovery from September and October. And this is where market planning then becomes critical, right? A lower livestock price does not affect every producer in the same way. We got feed costs, we got available grazing, animal condition, cash flow needs, and the ability to hold stock all might have an influence on the final outcome. The market may be approaching a seasonal low, but knowing when to sell and what it costs to wait, remaining one of the most important ground rules of livestock production. Thank you for joining me for this week's Ground Rules Livestock Market Update. Until next time, stay informed, stay curious, and remember, the best farming decisions always start with solid ground rules.